Hey sis, this simple daily schedule has made homeschooling 4 kids in 4 different grades realistic without me losing my mind. If you're overwhelmed thinking about how you're going to homeschool kids in different grades and it's causing you to doubt, guess what? I've been there. I was overthinking, I was worried, and I was concerned that I would not be able to give each child the attention that they needed. But everything changed when I found this simple, flexible routine that works for my family. Hello, my name is Chioma. I am a Nigerian homeschooling mom of 4, and I've been homeschooling for almost 7 years now. And on this channel, we build confident homeschooling moms who do not rely on their own strength but trust in God, who gives the grace to raise a godly generation. If that is you, please join this community by subscribing. Hey sis, so when I first started homeschooling, I was only homeschooling one child. Homeschooling was easier. We finished on time and I gave my first child my full attention. But some years later, I began to homeschool my second child. And guess what? Our schedule got busier and more complicated because my 2 daughters are 3 years apart and they were in 2 different grades. Then the next year, my 3rd child started school and I began to panic even before the school year started. And that was my turning point. I knew that I couldn't continue to homeschool the same way that I did with my first child. I knew that I needed to create a new system. I needed to create a system, a schedule that is flexible and easier to work with, that will help me to accommodate teaching multiple children in different grades. So when I started to teach 3 kids in 3 different grades, I knew that I needed a simpler, easier method of homeschooling my kids, okay? That will reduce the business of the day and make it less complicated. What I did was to figure out which subject I can teach them together and which subject that they will learn separately, individually. I decided that for Bible and for music, they can all learn it together. I can teach them together. So Bible was what we learned at the beginning of each class, and they worked on that together. But when it came to subjects like history or science, I would teach that to my 2nd and my 3rd child together because they were only 1 grade apart. But my first child, who was in the 5th grade at that time, was in a much higher class, and she had already taken those science and history classes, so I couldn't teach them to her again. She was learning something different, and so I had to give her one-on-one attention when it came to history and when it came to some science. But for the younger ones, I taught them together. And also this schedule worked really well because my 3rd child was very independent. He did his work really fast, he understood the subject, and he finished very fast. And also my 2nd daughter too will finish fast because she wanted to go play. So I had a lot of time to focus my attention on the first child, who needed it because she was at a much higher grade. This method of me teaching my kids together shortened the amount of time we spent in learning each day, and it also encouraged team building among my kids, and it also made homeschooling less overwhelming. This year, my first daughter is in 7th grade, my 2nd is in 4th grade, my 3rd is in the 3rd grade, and my 4th child is in pre-K. This year, I decided to divide all the subjects into 2. Half we do on Mondays and Wednesdays, and the other half we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So for Mondays and Wednesdays, we do Bible together as a family, and also we do our music together as a family. So Bible, we start off with Bible at the beginning, and we finish with music, and that is piano lesson. In between, the kids will do their language art and their math and their reading separately. Okay, and while each person is working on their language art and math and reading separately, I take some time to work with the pre-K on how to trace and also how to do matching. So matching worksheet and tracing worksheets. That's what I do with the youngest one. Since my youngest also already knows how to read, and he reads independently, like he will read his books around the house, and also he knows how to spell, I focus on helping him develop his writing skills and build his fine motor skills, because he doesn't know how to write yet. Now when it comes to Tuesdays and Thursdays, the kids work on their writing and rhetoric, history, science, and they finish with art lesson. In the morning we do writing and rhetoric. The first and the second, because they are doing the same workbook for writing and rhetoric, they work together. I work with them, two of them, while the third child, who is doing a different workbook, works separately, but I also work with him, and he works at his own pace. Okay, he writes slower, so that gives me more time to work with his older siblings. After writing and rhetoric, the two middle child, which the second and the third, will work together on their history. Okay, while they're working on their history, my oldest child is independently reading her history book as well. She reads it, and after reading, she watches some YouTube videos about the topics or the people that she had read about in her history, and that's on her own independently. After working with my second and my third child on their history lesson, I'll move on to working with them on their science lesson. Okay, sometimes during that time my daughter is done watching videos, or sometimes she's still in the middle of watching videos, but I usually try to finish history and science with my two middle kids together, just get everything done. After I finish teaching them history and science, I now focus on my first child, and we do science together, because she is doing a more advanced science now, which is human anatomy and physiology, and she would need my help to break some of those things down for her to understand. That's why I give her that one-on-one attention when it comes to science. Previously, she did most of the science reading on her own, when we were learning about land animals and swimming creatures. She will read and have that understanding on her own. But this time that we're talking about human anatomy, I feel like I need to give her that one-on-one attention too, and really teach her, since I have a background also in that human anatomy and physiology. So I'm able to help her learn better. So once everybody is done with science and history, we have lunch, and then we move on to doing art together. We don't always do art together, but we try. Sometimes we forget about art, but most times my first daughter will remember, oh mommy, we need to do art. I'm like, okay, let's do something. But that's how we do it each day. Mondays and Wednesdays we do Bible, language art, math, and reading, and then we finish with music. But then on Tuesdays and Thursdays we do writing and rhetoric, history, science, and we finish with art. This daily schedule has been a lifesaver. It has allowed me to teach 4 children in 4 different grades without feeling overwhelmed. Here, I want you to remember that your homeschooling schedule doesn't have to look like everyone else's. It just has to work for your family. Keep it simple and build around your priorities, and trust God to help you along the way. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share with other moms. And remember to watch my next video where I share the 3 pillars that have helped me develop confidence in homeschooling. Thank you so much for watching this video, and remember that we are raising warriors for Christ. See you next time. God bless you. Bye.